Thursday. I am doing this Thrift Score Thursday at 10 a.m. because that is what I heard from one of my subscribers, Kristen, that 10 a.m. was a better time than 8:30. I did the first two Thrift Score Thursdays at 8:30 because I thought maybe that would be a good time. But I've heard that 10 is better, so certainly weigh in. I am still toying with the idea of whether or not I want to make these for paid subscribers only in the future. We'll see about that. Another idea I had was doing like more one-off workshops about thrifting and vintage shopping. Maybe like a workshop on how to sell your vintage finds, a workshop on how to shop estate sales, and those can be just open for paid subscribers. And then the Thrift Score Thursdays are open to everyone. Anyway, for now, these are open to everybody. And I have a tab on my homepage that's video. And so I will upload these in full every time. But certainly, if you have questions, I would love to hear from you. I also wanted to quickly say thank you to everyone who commented, liked, shared the post that I published yesterday. I think most of you know, if you follow me, that I mostly write about interior design and thrifting. I wrote a best-selling book about thrifting called Big Thrift Energy that came out 2 years ago. But I have a very unique backstory. My mom was shot in the head when I was 2 months old, and I was raised by my grandmother, and she's kind of the one who got me interested and invested in thrifting. And my dad was the one who shot her. And that is a really weird thing to talk about. It took me 40 years, really. I turned 40 yesterday to be comfortable talking about it. And that's not so much because I'm uncomfortable talking about it. It's more because the reaction varies pretty greatly. And for me, look, this happened when I was so young. I don't remember it. I have grown up with it having always happened. It's always been a part of my life. So I fully understand that it's tragic, but I'm not quite as precious about it, I guess, as other people are. Gun violence is terrible, and my heart goes out to anyone who's been affected by it. My mom, like I said, was shot in the head. So her injuries are various. She has one eye. She doesn't have any teeth. She has no sinus cavity, so she can't smell or taste much of anything because it impacted the right side of her brain. She has a host of mental and psychological issues. So I take care of my mom. I don't have any siblings. I obviously have no relationship with anyone on my dad's side of the family. And it's a wild ride. And I try to approach it with humility and humor. And hopefully I got that across in my post yesterday. I've been taking care of her full time for the past 5 years because my grandmother died in a car accident 5 years ago, which was, that's a whole nother story because my grandmother was my everything. And so that was really hard. But gosh, I could write a book about the journey of being a caretaker and everything. And so I just wanted to say thank you again because writing this stuff is not easy, but it makes me feel really good when I hear from people that say it resonated with them or like they're going through something similar. And I think I've struggled at various times in my life with not wanting to feel like a victim because obviously my mom is a true victim of gun violence. And it took me a really long time to understand that, everyone else is also a victim of it. Everyone in the community and everyone who takes care of the victim is a victim in their own way. So anyway, read my story if you haven't already, if you'd like to. It's called Good for Her Age. And I tried to make it like fun and funny. Anyway, let's get to Thrift Score Thursday. So every Thursday I try to go on Substack Live. I just started this really last week and share my thrift finds. And if I don't have any thrift finds of the week, I just want to like delve into one topic. So today I want to talk about museum reproductions. This is one of my favorite things to thrift. When I say museum reproductions, I mean reproductions of a piece that's in a museum's permanent collection that is sold in their gift shop. And I find that the vintage versions of these finds are so much more well-made, just like with almost anything. If you go to a museum gift shop today, you will find incredible things. I think museum gift shops are like an untapped resource for Christmas gifts, holiday gifts, birthday gifts. But some of the vintage versions they're just better made. They're well made out of better materials. They're not factory made. Some of them are even like hand signed. I have found so many of these pieces over the years, and they're really cool. And actually, some of them are worth money on their own, even though they're not actually like ancient pieces. So I'm going to show you 4 of them. Okay, this one, I don't know that this is truly a museum reproduction. It was called a museum reproduction when I bought that. When I bought it at a very high-end antique market. So this was at like the Jacksonville Arts and Antique Shows. This is one of those antique shows that's like, it costs money to go in. It's done for charity. All of the booths are like very, very fancy. It's kind of hoity-toity. This was behind glass, but surprisingly, it was not very expensive. I think I paid $20 for this. And it's signed art, A-R-T, on the back here. That stands for Arthur Pepper. Arthur Pepper was a jewelry line designer that I believe started in the 1940s. This piece I have read was produced in the 1960s, and it's an Egyptian revival piece. So when I found it at the antique mall, the guy who sold it to me, or at the antique show, the guy who sold it to me said, this was a museum reproduction and it came from a museum gift shop. That might be true. I'm not entirely sure. I do know that it is a reproduction of an Egyptian necklace. And I have seen this online for, let's see, I have it pulled up. There's some for like $200, $250. So I got this for 20 bucks. I just got it because I thought it was cool. I love the mixed metals, and it's just a great size and shape. Would be really fun with a sweater. I love this piece. This is a newer one for me, and I got this without knowing what it was. I got this at Goodwill, and I just thought it was so like weird and wild and wonderful. And I don't know what it's made out of. It does seem like it's made out of, it might just be wood that's painted, or it might be some type of stone. It's difficult to tell because it has little holes and it looks like those are wood. Anyway, I paid $1.99 for this at a Goodwill in Atlanta, Georgia. Got it home, did the little reverse Google image search, and this is a Gwenol lioness. So the interesting thing about this is that this is, I guess, a reproduction of a piece that is this exact size. I measured it with a ruler, and the original piece is the exact same size as this. And this is like an insanely good reproduction, so much so that I questioned at one point, like, is this secretly the real thing and somebody like stole it and took it to Goodwill? It is a wildly, wildly good reproduction. The original of this is history making. One, because it's like a 5,000-year-old Mesopotamian sculpture. 2, because the original is literally this size, like I said, size and shape. And 3, because in 2007 it was auctioned off and it sold for $57.2 million. Can you imagine? Somebody paid $57.2 million for something of this exact size and shape. Reproduction. And some of them that are not as great are selling for like between $100 and $300 on Etsy. So that's kind of fun. This is another one. This, I got it in a estate sale. I think I paid maybe $10 for this. This is a reproduction of a Cycladic head or bust. Cycladic refers to Cyclades, which is an island group in Greece. And historians don't really know what the purpose of these sculptures were when they were made back in like the 2000s, between the 2000s and 5000s, I think BC. Most of them were of women, and they believe they were probably meant to represent fertility, which is a pretty classic trope in ancient sculpture. I love the Cycladic heads. I think they're so cool. This actually is marble or stone, and the Met store, you can shop the Met store online, has a bigger version of this for $345 online. Now, this one is vintage. Like I said, I got this at an estate sale. The people were art collectors. I love a little tiny thing, like a little miniature. So I thought this one was really fun. I also love that it's made out of stone and it has like a little tiny piece of marble. And yeah, I don't know. I just really loved this. Okay, last one. This is my absolute favorite one. This my grandmother got for me at an estate sale. And this is a Zuni Pueblo pottery. It's a reproduction of a piece that I believe is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art's collection. There's one of these online right now for $550, like one of these, the actual reproduction. And here's how you know that you have a museum reproduction. This is stamped on the bottom MMA, and that stands for Metropolitan Museum of Art. It also says BMA, which I believe stands for Boston Museum of Art. So probably the Boston Museum of Art somehow collaborated with the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I don't know, maybe it's in one of their permanent collections. I don't totally know why it has both. This one also has a sticker that says "Made in the Philippines." This is an actual piece of pottery. It does appear that it was hand painted, and I believe the Metropolitan Museum of Art is still doing versions of this, but this one is a vintage one. I'm gonna guess, I don't know, 1970s, 1980s. It's really great. It's so fun. Every time I post this, people ask me about it. And I accidentally chipped it, which is fine. I don't plan on selling it. It still stands upright though. But this one's just like a fun one for me. Um, yeah. Thank you, Brenda. It is amazing. I found over the years a lot of other really fun museum reproductions. I shared one in the post that I published last week, called "I'm Begging You to Look in the Case." And this is all about shopping in glass cases. I found three of these really beautiful blue ceramic hippos at a thrift store, and they are still produced. Now, the ones I found are vintage and I believe were made better than the newer ones. It looks like the newer ones are probably made in a factory somewhere. So they look a little bit mass produced. They almost look a little too perfect. Whereas the vintage ones, it looks like they were like hand painted and maybe they have some scuffing. I don't know. I just find vintage stuff so much more interesting than new. But anyway, those were also stamped MMA because those are from the Metropolitan Museum of Art's collection. Let's see, what else have I found over the years? I mean, I think I've sold some of my museum reproductions on Cherish. For those of you who don't know, I obviously wrote the book Big Thrift Energy, so I love thrifting for myself, but I also sell my vintage finds on Cherish. I'm a Cherish super seller, which means I'm in their top sellers, and I think been a Cherish super seller for 7 years now, which is pretty wild. But yeah, these days I mostly just thrift so I can show other people all the cool things I find. If you have any questions, please drop them here because that's why I want to do these lives so I can actually like answer you. Obviously, I'll share the full video after after it ends, but it's fun for me to be able to actually connect with you guys at the same time. Also, I would love if you could leave a comment once I post this and tell me what type of video content you'd like to see in the future. Like if I was to do a one-off paid subscriber video, what would you like that to be? I'm thinking it could be my top tips for selling vintage. It could be my top tips for shopping in a estate sale. It could be my top tips for shopping at an auction. Top tips for thrifting. For those of you who don't know, I travel a lot and I'm on the home show circuit. So I go to these trade shows and they pay me to talk about thrifting. And so I do usually like a 30 to 45 minute presentation on, you know, the best things that I've ever found and how I found them. And I talk about my Goyard trunk that I got for under $100 that I've been offered more than $30,000 for. I talk about my Fornasetti desk, which I just found a few months ago that I got for under $500 that is worth, you know, over 30,000. I have also found just like little tiny things. I might find something at a yard sale that winds up being worth $1,000. So I love doing these trade shows, but I can't reach a huge amount of people because it's just the people who are at the shows. But with Substack, I can go live for all of you. So if there's a topic that you'd like me to discuss specifically, I think that would be really, really fun. So please let me know. Please drop a comment. And let me know if there's anything that you guys specifically have questions about from my little museum reproduction collection here. Or if there's any topics you'd like me to delve into in the future on Thrift Score Thursday. Like I said, I either want to share my hauls. Last week I did one about vintage handbags and I shared two of the vintage handbags I got recently, but then I also shared some of my favorites from my collection. I have like this really great Bottega bag that I got at an estate sale for $40. I have my little armadillo bag, which is so wild and weird and wonderful. I shared my Timmy Woods bag. Yeah, so I've done that, handbags, and then today museum reproductions. Let me know what you'd like to see. I could do one just about my Goyard trunk, and I could show you guys the inside. That would be fun. I don't know if there's anything specific you want. Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off now and let you get back to your morning. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. See, I love that. Thank you for this comment. Someone just commented that they looked in the glass case and they found the sweetest little silk clutch. Yes, please go check out my post. I'm begging you to look in the case because it's all about why you should look in glass cases at antique malls and thrift stores. Many people do not because you're worried that they're going to be expensive. They're generally not. They just put that stuff in there so people don't walk away with it. Two, there is a weird amount of pressure that a company is looking in a glass case, right? You have to ask someone for the key. And then there's always that moment like when they take it out and you realize it's not what you thought. And you're like, oh, thanks for walking all the way over here. I don't want this. It just feels weird. But just face your fears because looking in the glass case can be so rewarding. Anyway, thank you guys. And thank you again for the support on my post yesterday. It means so, so much to me. Not easy for me to write about that stuff or talk about myself in that way, but it feels really rewarding when people enjoy it and when I get support. So thank you so much. And again, let me know what you would like to see more of in this space. Thanks.